And it's lighting the internet on fire because it's not just about one guy. It's about free speech, terrorism, and anti-Semitism.
The first responsibility of an administration is ensuring the safety of the students who are paying tuition to be there, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Have you seen any evidence to suggest that there is actually a serious reason to believe that this student is going to be a threat to national security?
Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. Allow me to make my case against immigration, against most immigration. America should not be pulling people in from around the world. Just don't. I think we should be reproducing and making our own. This is not about race. I don't care what race you are. I think everyone should be reproducing. I like little black kids. I like little white kids. I like little Mexican kids. I like Asian kids. I like when they all blend. I don't care. I don't want foreign anti-Christian ideologies smuggled into the country, especially Muslims. Okay, there, I said it. Now we're going to go to, this is the BlackRock CEO. I'm going to make my case across this whole episode. So here we go. This is the BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink. And of course, he's making the Democrat case again on the whole who will pick our fruit.
I do believe deportations and the speed at which this is happening is going to have severe impact on the agricultural sector and the
one can hope so.
Construction sector. I've talked to CEOs in the ag sector, and they remind me that 70% of the men and women who work in the ag culture were not born in the United States.
Holy smokes. And by the way, most of them are illegally working. That means 70% of the people in the ag culture are criminal. That is, our government is encouraging farmers to be a criminal, underground, illegal business. I only want to say, can I do the same thing, government? I want a criminal, underground, illegal business. I'm going to hire illegal workers. I'm not going to have them pay their taxes. If they commit crimes, we'll sweep it under the table. You know, crimes like cheating on your taxes. How about owning a machine gun or a tank? You know, we'll just look past these crimes. Oh, those crimes are going to come out and launch the law and the Constitution against them. But this other one, basically the people who give us all of our food, our government's going to turn a blind eye to. That's the president of BlackRock, one of the largest, probably the largest Wall Street holdings company in perhaps in the world. This guy, okay, look at this, balding Antichrist.
Many of them are U.S. citizens now. Many of them have work permits.
Many of them, no, not many of them.
And many of them don't. And 40% of the construction workers were not born in the United States. You add that up and what's going on, I think we're going to start seeing, especially when spring and the spring crops arrive, are we going to have enough workers to...
I got an idea. Let's do like the Democrats did back in the old days. Enslave black people to pick our fruit. If the absolute thing that has to be done and the absolute thing that has to be done is that our crops must be picked. And damn the law, forget legality, forget morality. That's what he's saying. Forget the law, forget morality. We got to get our fruit picked. 40% of construction workers are illegal immigrants. That was my dad's job, was to swing a hammer. And now you have a bunch of American citizens cannot afford to swing a hammer because the costs are driven down so low by illegal employment.
Harvest the crops and all right.
Harvest the crops. Yeah. Go feed the cows, Pepe. Gomez, fix my car. Gomez, go pick the fruit. It's never Gomez. Go build a particle accelerator. Gomez, go work for the rocket program. Gomez, write code for AI. It's always Gomez, go break rocks with your back until it gives out at about 45 years old. And then we'll discard you, by the way. You'll be discarded. This is a grift. This is immoral. This is disgusting. And he's making a case because his brain is so small and shriveled and black. If his brain was any more dead, shriveled, and black, it would say, "What you talking about, Willis?" Look, he has zero conscience about the illegals that he's trying to defend. He's just going, hey, give me my cheap crops, replace my roof, you slave, mow my lawn, dig a ditch, Gomez.
And now, you know, with the whole idea that we're going to have to use a private capital to build out this economy, are we going to have enough workers? I've even told...
I'll tell you, one workers that we have too many of, rich, white, bald, Wall Street executives. We have apparently, I see too many whites. You want to talk about replacement theory? Can we please replace this guy with a minority? I'm for replacing your job.
Members of the Trump team that we're going to run out of electricians.
Now it's electricians. Your electrician's not going to work. Your electricity is not going to work. We have too many illegals. We're trying to build out AI data centers, and you can't get enough Hispanics to connect the electric cables.
Out of AI data centers. We just don't have enough. So
this isn't for me, guys. This is for you, he's saying. I'm not saying this for me to benefit BlackRock. I'm saying this for you. Do you want AI data centers, Elon? Then quit deporting our citizens. This guy is evil. He will not open his mind to the possibilities of other solutions. How about a solution of raise the prices to a fair market price for fruit and vegetables that will cost $7, per avocado or whatever? Pay, if you want electricians to work in AI, maybe you have to pay them $70,000 a year instead of minimum wage. He's not willing to do that. They all have their trap. This is the Dick Durbin thing and the Schumer thing too. They're going, all we know is we have to have minimum wage. Illegal wages to illegal people is the only solution. Open your mind. I'm an artist, okay? I'm a big thinker outside of the box. Open your mind, start getting creative. The market will find a solution. In the meanwhile, you really want to undermine America. You despise this country. You want to import a whole other culture because you don't believe in our culture that already is here. Judeo-Christian. In fact, I'll lop off the Judeo. Just Christian, Western civilization is what they hate. They would actually tolerate a Jewish civilization. They hate the Christian part. Now, here's Mike Johnson on they're deporting this illegal guy. In fact, I really should do this other video, but we will, you know what, I will do it. I'm going to get to our buddy Kaizen Asidju, this guy. He explains this illegal guy, Mahmoud Khalil, got arrested. He was a student, anti-America student, and got deported. And so now, of course, the left is going nuts because they want to import as many Muslims, specifically radical Islamicists that hate the Jews, want them wiped off the planet, want to destroy Western civilization, believe in marrying underage white women in particular. They're blowing up with violence in the UK, and the UK is not allowed to take them to court. That is documented in Douglas Murray's book, The Curious Death of Europe. Okay, here's Kaizen Asidju.
University graduate student that the left is calling pro-Palestine, but the right is calling pro-Hamas, was just arrested by...
He says the left is calling pro-Palestine, the right is calling pro-Hamas. They're basically the same thing. If you're pro-Palestine, you're almost always pro-Hamas. So I disagree with him on the distinction there.
ICE. And it's lighting the internet on fire because it's not just about one guy. It's about free speech, terrorism, and anti-Semitism. First, here are the facts. Today, Trump announced Mahmoud Khalil's arrest for activities aligned to Hamas, which echoes Secretary of State Marco Rubio's vow to deport Hamas supporters. But they haven't detailed the evidence of being Hamas aligned. Does it mean protests, speeches, something more? And I'll give you my take later in this video, but it's speculative for now because we're still in the dark. Here's what we do know. Mahmoud Khalil is a green card holder and he enjoys First Amendment rights, but it comes with a catch. Unlike citizens, non-citizens can be deported if their speech is deemed to endorse or espouse terrorist activity.
Which he clearly does. If he's endorsing Hamas, in fact, Palestine's terrorist activity too. So I'm going to disagree with him on this. He's guilty. He's not a citizen. He's a green card holder. Kick him out. He's here at our pleasure. He's here at the president's pleasure. If the president wants to deport him, deport him. Here's Mike Johnson on the same issue. Let's watch this. A little more backstory here.
In your estimation, what crime did Mahmoud Khalil commit to warrant his arrest, detention, and the potential revocation of his green card?
Let me tell you something. I went face down the angry mob at Columbia at the height of that stuff. When the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protesters were there. I'm telling you, this is my own observation, not something I read in the newspaper. It was dangerous. I met with Jewish students before we went to campus who were holed away off campus because they were instructed by the administration not to come to class, which they paid for fear of their physical safety. The administrators there refused to take control of that campus. They refused to allow the PD to come, the police department to come in and take control. And it turned into a chaos. The president has since been removed. And now they got the same problem again. Columbia and other universities universities. They have to keep control of campus. The first responsibility of an administration is ensuring the safety of the students who are paying tuition to be there, for crying out loud. This madness has to stop. We have to get control of it. This guy apparently was a mastermind of those very things, when the gnashing of teeth and the ripping of clothes and the people screaming at me, wanting to rip me limb from limb because I was there talking about moral clarity and how there's a right and a wrong. For doing that, they disrupted the campus. They were threatening physical violence to their fellow students. If you're on a student visa, I'm going to say this clearly. If you are on a student visa and you're in America and you're an aspiring young terrorist who wants to prey upon your Jewish classmates, you're going home. We're going to arrest your tail and we're going to send you home where you belong. And this is just getting started. So look, I appreciate free speech. I used to defend it in courts, but this is far beyond the pale of that. When you are threatening your classmates and spewing anti-Semitism and all this hatred, it's enough. And
I have never seen Mike Johnson this angry. I just want to say all this press are trying to defend these Hamas pro-Palestine students. I just want to say, what if I said about homosexuals what they say about Jews? Like, what if I said that all homosexuals should be wiped off the face of the earth? What if I said that in a protest? And then what if homosexuals felt uncomfortable coming to my store or coming to my university because we've threatened to tear them limb from limb? What would happen? Would the press come out and defend them like they do the Hamas guys? This is one radical we're deporting, the worst, okay? And you still have massive oppression of other students at Columbia University. This is not even going to solve the problem, okay? This one's an easy one, and we're having a hard time with it. Look, guys, if you have a hard time deporting this guy, turn your country over to the Middle East. Just hand it over to Allah now. No constitution. You cannot have a constitution. You're going to get, Sharia law. Have fun with it. It's not going to happen. The fight is now. Don't wait till you're as bad as Europe, where you're completely gone. They're pulling kids off the streets and abusing them, and there isn't a lawyer in the country that'll take the case in Europe. Europe's fallen. Europe is done, all done. You're not gonna reform Europe without some kind of a civil war. America, it's still avoidable. So this is in the name of helping our diversity, that you have to clean up these bad agents. Now here's Scott Jennings on the same topic at CNN.
He's a resident alien. He can be deported under U.S. law for if the Secretary of State has any reasonable ground to believe he would have a potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequence. And you mentioned the student organization. The student organization put out. Let me finish.
But before you move on, because I think that's a really important point, right? That's the statute that they're using.
Yeah.
Have you seen any evidence to suggest that there is actually a serious reason to believe that this student is going to be a threat to national security?
I've certainly watched the abomination that's going on at Columbia and Barnard and other places, and I will just tell you,
threat to national security.
And I'll just tell you that
I'm not going to let you move on, because this is
I'll tell you why it's a threat to national security if you let me answer you.
Well, Scott,
do you want me to answer you or not?
Okay.
His organization says we are dedicated fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization.
Okay.
That's a threat to national security. He made a literal threat to the nation, to Western civilization. On that alone is why we should deport anyone who believes that, anyone close to it. Get out of the country. I think you should lose your citizenship. This guy's not even a citizen. That's easy to deport that guy. I'm saying any American that says we're here to defeat America or defeat Western civilization, get out. You're out. Beat it. We have deported people for less. I mean, these people are saying, like, what has he done? Why would you deport him? They never said, what did the pro-life Catholic do to have the FBI break his door down to spy on him, listen on his phones, bust into his house in the middle of the night? They're not doing that to this guy. Arrest him. Get him out of here. Get all his friends out of here. Everyone who is in his organization, get them out of here. Not a xenophobe. I just see what it is. I know what they're doing, and everyone else is playing dumb. I know what they're doing. Go look at a map of how the Middle East has spread since the year 700 AD, of how Islam is spread by the sword since 700 AD. Just look at the map that it has taken over, places it has conquered. Just look at the map and you'll see exactly what's happening. I know what they did, and I know what they're doing. And you know what the greatest danger to America is if we let them come in and walk in and take this place? The greatest danger, ironically, is the First Amendment and free speech. Now, you guys know that makes my skin crawl even to say that. I'm a free speech absolute advocate. But free speech is not meant to protect you threatening the country. Free speech is not so you can intimidate Jews. It's not even so I can intimidate Muslims. If I did to homosexuals what the Muslims do to Jews in this country, there wouldn't be one Muslim left in the country. You know what I mean? And if I did to gays what Muslims do to Jews, I'd be in prison for life.
He's not a citizen. He doesn't need to be here.
You just described him having viewpoints that you disagree with. Again, is that enough to have someone lose their rights in this country?
He has viewpoints that, in my opinion, jeopardize the security of the United States.
But how?
He is obviously a radical who is here to foment.
No, he's not a radical at all.
He's not a radical. Now, what does a radical mean? If you say we must end the West, Western civilization, the West, what if I say we must end all open-mindedness? What if I say we must end progressivism? What if I said we must end the Democrat vote? We must end the vote. Can you imagine?
It's the United States government.
He wants to destroy Western civilization against the United States government.
You're saying eradicate Western civilization doesn't make you a radical?
Has he acted in any way that is violence against the United States?
Okay, if he can say eradicate Western civilization, then I'll say eradicate Eastern civilization from the planet. Eradicate Eastern civilization, the Far East, the Middle East. Eradicate the Middle East. What does that sound like? A guy named Adolf comes to mind.
I think these protests and the violence they have fomented and the intimidation and fear against the Jewish kids on these campuses is absolutely an act of insurrection against the United States.
I don't think the American speech, Scott. That's enough.
Look, Look, what they have engaged in is a clear threat to the United States. And if you want the United States to be overrun by radicals the way Europe has, be my guest. But I think the president needs to stand up for the integrity of the United States.
He's right on that. Do you want to be like Europe? Overrun by radicals. That's what happened to Europe. It's too late. You're not going to reverse that, by the way. And they're going to out-reproduce all of the Europeans because Europeans aren't having children, the Muslims are. So you're going to have, and then they're going to be a voting democracy. And so just hand Britain, my son's in Britain, Great Britain right now, over in London right now on a school trip, but hand London over to the Middle East, hand France over to the Middle East, hand Germany over to the Middle East. Have fun. Bye-bye, y'all. All done. Bye-bye. Maybe not this generation, maybe not next generation, but you will be Sharia law. There will be no throne. There will be no constitution. They took your country. You guys used to fight the barbarians and the Moors and the Huns and all that. And then your liberals invited them in and defended them with arguments like CNN is doing with Scott Jennings right now.
The threat of our country and our college campuses being overrun by radicals who are trying to run Jewish kids off of campuses and anybody else who disagrees. Yes, they are. In UCLA. No, in UCLA.
Look at that guy in the cowboy hat. You're a fool. This guy's a fool. They're not running off Jewish kids. Dude, there's videos of them targeting and running off Jewish kids.
They wouldn't even let them go to class.
First of all,
Columbia is an abomination.
First of all, there were violent counter protests at UCLA that were
absolutely false. The Jews were not violent in counter protest. This guy is a lying scum. He is. This is worse than Neville Chamberlain.
By Jewish organizations.
No, both sides. Anti-Semitism is a scourge on this country.
It absolutely is.
Is that it is not clear that this particular student has engaged in the specific actions that he was talking about. And you've shown me no evidence of that either.
Okay, well, guess what? He is not a citizen. If he were a citizen, I might feel differently. He's a guest in this country.
Okay.
It's my view.
So in other words,
it's the Trump administration.
But it doesn't matter.
No, I didn't walk in here with my gumshoe investigative case, Abby. But here's what I do think. This guy's running an organization at Columbia that has ruined 2 solid years of people's lives.
Based on allegations that you have not substantiation.
I think he should be deported based on what the Trump administration has already identified. He is a threat to the national security.
Based on his affiliation.
Statute you quoted. It's an obscure statute.
Oh, it's The View coming in on CNN, guys. I can't escape The View. Anna Navarro, wrong answers only.
Old statute that's being used is about being against U.S. foreign policy, right? So, for example, when I was part of protests in Miami, when the Clinton administration and Janet Reno returned Elian Gonzalez to Cuba, is that
Were you trying to eradicate Western civilization?
No, I was trying to stop the U.S. government, and I was protesting against what the U.S. government had done.
Were you occupying buildings?
I was protesting.
Were you fomenting violence?
I was doing what that.
Were you inciting others to engage in violence?
I was doing what that statute
Were you
said.
chasing
I was
people
against
around?
U.S. foreign policy.
Were you
at the time.
intimidating people?
Okay,
We
Scott.
were shutting
No.
down streets.
My view is that we're in a fight for the future of Western civilization. This guy's on the wrong side of it, and he don't need to be here.
Amen. I'll go with that. You want to see a little bit of Western civilization going on? Now you have protests in New York. Okay. You have hippies, Antifa, radicals, anti-Americans protesting the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil. So I'm going to show you the streets of New York here. And of course, they're surrounding a Cybertruck because they have to go after Elon Musk. So this is the kind of evil. Here goes the evil, guys. This is sickening to me. This is the streets of New York. Would you feel safe being in this Cybertruck going down the streets of New York? This looks like freaking Afghanistan. Look at all those long hairs, and they're all dirty and unkempt. Can you imagine the smell? Imagine the filthy smell of you guys. And a whole bunch of them are wearing masks. They've got the hoods on, and they're all flying flags from any country but America. Double middle finger because you have to be foul, because you can't make an argument. You have to go bang your drum like you're a primitive man from like 5,000 years ago in your tribe, banging a drum, unga bunga.
Back off the car, get out of the way.
Yeah, look at that cop. He came armed with a megaphone. That's so stupid. Pull out a gun, you dummy. Pull out a gun. They need riot gear.
Back off the car, get out of the way. Let's go over, guys. Let him go. Let him go.
Release Mahmoud now. These are the same people that wanted J6ers, Americans, imprisoned. I'm happy that the Americans who do belong here, they are citizens, should be freed. This guy should be deported. I think the guy holding this sign should be deported. Go try to hold that sign up in Saudi Arabia and see how long you last. All these protesters, hold your sign up over there. Your rainbow flag in Saudi Arabia, you'd be thrown in solitary confinement. You go in a hole and you'd never come out. You go in a hole filled with scorpions and you'd never come out.
Let's keep marching, guys. Come on.
Oh, it's Germany, 1933 all over again. Free Palestine, free Palestine. Yeah, you know what Hitler was doing in Germany in 1933 to the Jews? The same thing you're doing.
Piece of shit.
Look at his little headscarf on there. Take your culture. America has a culture. That's not part of our culture. Take your culture out of our country. Get it out. No headscarves. Dude, feminists, we don't want headscarves on women. And you're such a woman that you're putting a headscarf on a man.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Takes does it take to protect the Nazi?
Oh, we're protecting the Nazis, hippie long hair. Where's this guy? Look at this guy. Where'd you come from? What's Portland doing in New York? Look at this guy. He's got the hoodie. He's got a hoodie and a cap, long hair, ironic mustache, and gloves. And he's shouting that we're protecting Nazis. Okay. Guys, do you feel it ramping up? Do you feel the radicals? Do you know why they're ramping up? Because they lost an election. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in rule of law. So they're slowly, they don't even care about this Mahmoud guy. They just want to be violent. They just want to tear America apart. That's what these Democrats are doing. If you live in downtown New York, I got conservatives that live down there. You're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. If you live in downtown New York, downtown Chicago, down, you know, these major cities that are all left, you're nuts. So we got to, I don't know how we take our country back without removing these radicals. Get them out. At the very least, freeze importing them. No more of these illegals in here. Take your culture, get out. We promote a linear, Western, Christian founders culture here in America. I'm Doug in exile.